also need to cover what forgiveness is not. Okay? Forgiveness is not excusing bad behavior. So, if you're really excusing bad behavior in the name of forgiveness, that is really not forgiveness. Also, forgiveness is not stifling conflict. If there is conflict and it needs to be dealt with, forgiveness will not sit in that space of being truthful. You have to be truthful about the fact that there is a conflict. For you to solve a problem, there has to be an admission that there's a problem in the first place. Okay? So, forgiveness is not tolerance. You can forgive people, but you don't have to tolerate bad behavior. So, for example, if you have chosen to forgive somebody and they're in your sphere of life, when you forgive them and you let go, you can choose also to let go of the person from your sphere of life, because you do not tolerate bad behavior. There's a reason why people say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Because people have the potential to pour into your life. And if all they keep pouring is negative stuff, then you become a negative person by association. And so, or if you keep people around you who pour positive stuff into you, love, joy, peace, and kindness, that's what you flow with. It's a part of guarding your heart. So, but here's the one thing that I learned. Forgiveness does not mean I have to sit across the table and drink a cup of tea with you. No. So, perfect forgiveness would be a restoration of relationships to where they were before. It's keeping your love on. So when I forgive you, if the other person has not forgiven me, it means that by the time they get to that place where they're ready to forgive, my love is on, so that when they are ready, we can get to that place where of complete restoration. But that is only in the circumstance where there's perfect forgiveness. There are some relationships that cannot be restored. Okay? And these are relationships, for example, if somebody, if you took your child to a doctor and the doctor molested your child, that is a betrayal, that is a breaking of trust. So where trust is broken, then it's a deep hurt, and you can still choose to forgive. But that also means that I am not bringing that child back to you as a doctor. Okay? In fact, you'd make other people aware of the situation. So there are some relationships that cannot be restored. So practically in a friendship kind of situation, there's some people, when they break your trust, then you get to decide if you want to spend that time, if you want to give them another ticket. No, if you want to give them a second chance to do this life journey with you. But if you don't want to, it's okay to say, I forgive you and I move on, but I really do not need friends like that in your life. So like I said, forgiveness does not mean forgetting. Because if you forget, then you forget the lessons. You have to learn the lessons, and the lessons are important. The lessons show you who people are, and when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. You don't need people to treat you bad a second time and do something again a third time before you actually learn who people are. Learn the lessons. Don't forget, because you forget the lessons. Learn the lessons and forgive. But also learn who people are. And if somebody is toxic and negative and they're not for you and they don't build you up and they don't challenge you to come up higher, you have every single right to say, I do not want you to be part of my life anymore. So if there are those relationships that you feel like you cannot be part, that you don't want this person to be part of your inner circle. And usually that happens with deeper relationships where people are either friends or family. The people who matter are the ones who usually hurt us the most. Okay? So bearing in mind that we need to forgive, there are people we also need to forgive who are invisible. People like, if you're carrying anger but the person is not alive anymore, you still need to forgive them. And forgive yourself. And then the other person you need to forgive is yourself. I say invisible because it's very hard for people to see themselves as a person that they need to forgive. You can forgive yourself for letting yourself, or for putting yourself in situations where you are taken advantage of, or for forgetting the lessons and actually having to learn the lessons again. So you can also, the other person you need to forgive is God. You would think God has done nothing wrong to me, but the thing is, when we are disappointed, we start blaming God, and when we blame God, we start projecting onto God the shortcomings of maybe a male figure in our life or a female figure in our life, whoever mattered more, and you start blaming that. You think God is that. So sometimes God might actually have to tell you, I am your heavenly father, but I do not have the same faults as your earthly father. So stop projecting those to him. And so there are instances where you need to forgive God. So have a nice time and forgive. Bye.